I went to high school at Thomas W. Kelly High School in Benton, Missouri. I graduated in 1984 from high school. From there, I went a year and a half at Southeast Missouri State down in Cape Girardeau, and then I transferred to School of the Ozarks, College of the Ozarks now, but back then it was SFO, and finished out my college degree at SFO in 91, I think it was, 1991. I kind of took the long path, but I made it. In high school, I played basketball and baseball. Baseball was my true sport. That's what was my first true love. That's what I wanted to do, and I really wanted to coach baseball instead of in basketball because that was my true love. But I played 4 years of baseball and basketball in high school, and I played one semester at SFO in college for one semester when I went there. In baseball, in high school baseball, I was all conference for 4 years. My junior, senior year, I was all conference, all district. Well, I started out in my freshman year. I started out in right field. I started as a freshman, and then I moved to second base my sophomore year. And then my junior, senior year, I played short. I pitched a little bit and caught. So this is my first initial teaching job. I actually coached 1 year at New Life Academy back in '93. I think it was 1993, but I started in Blue Eye in '95. And it's the only school I've ever really taught at, so my career pretty much has been here my entire career. I was actually in the restaurant business for a while after college. I kind of graduated college and I was in the restaurant business for about 3 or 4 years, and I just kind of took a leap of faith. And at that time, back in late '90s, early '90s in Branson, Branson shut down for the off season. It was kind of a ghost town in the wintertime back then. And so during the winter months, I'd draw unemployment. Well, I started subbing a little bit, and I just kind of thought I'd take a leap of faith and kind of came over here to Blue Eye and started helping with the 5th grade boys program as just a volunteer coach. Kind of enjoyed it, and then I got hired on the special ed department as a teacher's aide to start off with. So I've always coached. I coached Babe Ruth baseball when I was 18, 19. Kind of helped out a little bit, played some fast pitch softball back in my days, and coached a little softball. I never really visualized myself being a coach. Even in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought, I really thought I wanted to be an elementary PE teacher and to maybe help with baseball. But it just kind of evolved, and I landed here, and things just kind of one thing led to another, and I'm here 28 years later. Yeah, there's several coaches. Early on, honestly, I started off with here as head softball coach, and Coach Yancey Little was here. We started the same year, so he took over the boys program the following year, and I was his assistant, and I was kind of his mentor. Under him, I learned a lot. We kind of worked together. But one of my things when I took over the program was one person that I always idolized. I always thought a lot of his programs and the style he played, and I always thought, man, I would like to get my kids to play this way. And that was Gary Murphy at Marshfield. He had that great run, great teams back in the late '90s. He was one coach that I really thought, this is how I want my kids to play. So every year there's always something enjoyable. I had a lot of special teams, a lot of great teams. It's hard to pick out one. I would say the 2006 ball club was a special group. Obviously this past 3 years, this senior group this year was a really special group. We had a great run. The 2006 group, was one that's after Tag Morris had graduated, and she was an All-American, great player, and one of the best players that come out of Blue Eye. And that following year, people kind of think you take a back seat and you're going to fall off a little bit. But that year, I had 3 seniors that was key: Jessica Curry and Claire Johnson and Jamie Ohm. And they weren't superstars, they were just role players. But they just did whatever we needed to do, and we went on to quarterfinals that year and had a chance, probably, lost in overtime to Morrisville before going to Final Four. But that group was pretty special. They just bought into it, had some juniors and some sophomores, Jessica Franson, a lot of kids that kind of played into that group, and we just kind of gelled. And a lot like this group this year, they accepted their roles. But yeah, there's been a lot of special teams, a lot of good teams, but that year really stands out. Good team, the very best team, just hard to say. I had some great teams, you know, with Tag coming through, and even dating back to my first 3 years with that young group of ladies that I took over. They were a good group. But, you know, when Tag Morris was here, we had, you know, 4 great years, won 2 district titles, went to the quarterfinals twice. And then, you know, the year after that, when she graduated, that was a great group. And then, obviously, this group I had this year was pretty special to go to, you know, 3 Final Fours in a row and do the things that they did. They were a pretty special group. So every team I've had throughout the year, there's something special about them. It's kind of hard to say which was the best team. You know, I had a lot of more talented teams, but also had some teams that were not real talented but played real well together. Yeah, so it's been quite a run. Define a great player by multiple ways. Tag was the only young lady I had to go play Division I. She went to play at Missouri State, and her full name is Tashina Morris, and she goes by Tag. All-time leading scorer here at Blue Eye, all-time leading rebounder. And she led us in assists and steals. I mean, she was just an all-around great player. You know, I could name kids from, you know, the 1999 team with Lindsay McDowell and Katie Johnson and April Blevins, even kids like Lindsay Miller, and I go for Jessica Franson, Tressa Linson. I've just been blessed, you know. And then this group this year with the 5 seniors, you know, Avery and Riley and Kyla, Michaela and Grayson. I can go back to 2011 season when I was able to coach my daughter her senior year, that group with Vanessa Blue and Tara Williams and Deborah Boyd. And, you know, that's what I said. Some of these questions are kind of loaded because I can name kids probably weren't stars that people don't know of that were really a big part of our success. You know, Marissa McGee, or like I said, that was way back in 2000, 2001. Bailey Albertson. So there's a ton of kids. Cheyenne Sheets, you know, Cheyenne was a great player. You know, that group, Cassandra Andrietta, I mean, just several kids that, you know, played big roles. And like I said, I know I'm probably going to leave some kids out, but I do remember them all. So there's a lot of coach memories. You know, summertime, there's a lot of memories in summertimes, in our summer camps. You know, going to Rolla. We used to go to Rolla every year for licking camps, and those are always enjoyable. So there's a lot of memories, you know, as far as on the court basketball memories. You know, obviously making it to the Final Four is always going to be pretty special. You know, a few that stick in my head, you know, I will never forget, and that's with our Christy Frederick, who was a junior. I think we were playing Pierce City in the finals here at Blue Eye, and she had almost a half-court shot to win the game. So that one really sticks out, and we've had a lot of special memories here at Blue Eye, and I've had a lot of special memories with the kids in the off season, and you know, doing our garage sales, trying to raise money, or team bonding things. But each group, like I said, you know, they all brought something special every year. Yeah, the money. Yeah, no, you know, it's just a passion, I guess, to compete. Being around the kids, you know, keeps you young. I enjoyed, you know, trying to get the most out of my kids. I enjoyed a challenge. And like I said, I've been real blessed over the years to have really, really great parents, great community, and kids. You know, I have really good kids that I've been able to coach. But yeah, it's just been easy. I mean, I shouldn't say it's been easy. It's demanding. It takes a lot of time and effort. What kept me going is just thinking about the next year and what I need to do and how can we prove people wrong and, you know, stay on top, or whether it's, you know, if we're, you know, on top one year, or, you know, try to find a way to keep building that momentum the next year. So the challenge is always something that I've always welcomed and enjoyed, and just seeing young kids grow and building the relationships with the kids, that's always been special. You know, every year you got a different group of kids, a different personality. You got seniors that graduate, or you get kids that move up as freshmen. What am I going to do, and, you know, how am I going to approach this opponent or approach this year? Is it going to change up my defensive style, or offensively, do we got to switch up what we do offensively? You know, practices has always been pretty much the same. We've kind of stayed with the fundamentals, hard work, effort, and competing, you know, trying to get kids to compete at a high level. And to me, that's one of the biggest things, is if you can be a competitor, if you can go out and compete, you're going to find a way to succeed. And if you don't, you're going to walk off the court knowing that you did everything you could. You know, that's tough this day and age, to get kids to understand that competition, you know, is work, but it can also be a lot of fun. and then it just leads to success in no matter what you do. I don't care whether you're in the business world, the corporate world, or whether on the playing fields. Being competitive is something that will just carry on and just instills a lot of toughness and just overall confidence in you as a person. Build that relationship with the kids. Make sure you have understand the player-coach relationship, but let them know that you do care. It's not about the X's and O's. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about all the other things that go along with it. It's the bus rides, going to and from games, staying after school, whether it's going to summer camps. Make it a family. Make it a family. Make it, feel like, hey, we can count on each other. And like I said, when you do that, when you gain that respect and that trust, then the kids will go out there and they're going to play hard for you, and they're going to do what they can to try to win. And so, and it doesn't always happen. Obviously, you don't win all your games and you don't win every time. But if you know that your teammates care and your coaches care, and they're there, it's not about the coach. It's not about me. It's about your team. It's about your teammates. It's about your family at home. Yeah, that's the advice I'd give new coaches, is just make sure it's not about you. It's not about, hey, look at me. Look at my wins, or look at my look at what I did, because it's never about the coach. It's always about the players. Because if you don't, like I said, God's blessed me. I've been very fortunate and blessed, not only to coach great kids, but also to work at a great school, great community here at Blue High. It's been, obviously, I've been here 28 years. I started out my career here, and I never left. I mean, there's a reason that I stuck around, and it's about the faculty, the staff, our administration, the community, the parents, and the kids. I talked about several of the kids, and I remember all the kids. I can remember the kids from 2004, 2003, whether it's, like I said, the Jessica Fransons or the Kelsey Hollingers or, Timbo Barretts and Shara Butlers. They brought a lot to me. They give me more than I feel like I've given them. I was just out there just trying to just kind of lead them in the right way, and hopefully that they learn something, whether it's if they don't take anything away as far as basketball away from the court, they take away some type of life lesson. And that's something I'm proud of, and all the kids that played for me, whether it's the Jordan Badleys or the Nikki Clarks, or my daughter McKenna, or Vanessa Blues, or Lindsay Garzas. If you look at where they're at now, of course, the Morgan Hickeys and Kayla Hickeys and Brianna Fugit, those kids, Jessica Fugit, who's my assistant now, softball coach, all played for me. If you look at where they're at now, they're successful in society. They're great people. They left high school and they can continue to pursue a career, whether it's in the medical field, or whether it's just in the business world, or in the labor department, or whatever. If I had a list of all my kids, I could write to the side of their name that right now they're being productive members of society. And hopefully I had a part to do with that. I mean, not just a small part, but at least I was part of it. All the players, have brought something and gave me a lot. And I said, I have nothing but blessings and gratefulness for, like I said, over the years, Coach, I don't know how many kids, hundreds, I don't know, 28 years, figured, I don't know, 200 kids or so. Then you go back to junior high. I coached junior high for years. So I remember several kids that I had in junior high that maybe didn't play in high school, but I still remember, Sarah Evans and some of those younger kids that played for me in junior high. Even on the boys' side, I coached the 5th grade boys I had, Nick Berkins and kids like that right now are successful. I know what they're doing. So it's just a big family, and it's an extension of my own family. So.